Well, the first question I always ask when I go to these meetings is, what do y'all think the YMCA is? I really would rather start off with a question. So what do you know about our Y? Yes, ma'am.
For kids, I think it's like a fun, I don't wanna say daycare, but a fun place for them to go, like, they have physical activities for kids.
That's the word I wanted. So,
Well, when I was a kid, it was the very first place that I spent the night in a racquetball court.
and those racquetball courts still exist.
My very first overnight class was in the new
Yeah,
building.
we're trying to get rid of the racquetball courts.
Yes.
One at a time. But, so, when I first got here 2 years ago, 18 months ago, everybody would say we're a swimming gym. And that's where it would cut off. And so, what I want to tell you is that's not what a Y is. Okay, the swim and the gym are the avenue to get people in the Y for us to do the other things that you talk about. And so do we downplay the gym? No. Okay, but we are a mission-based organization. And I think that surprises a lot of people because, you know, when you talk about after school, over a third of the kids in our after school program at summer camp do not pay a dime. Okay, we between state funds and what we have to go fundraise for, you know, because we want every family to have the ability to pay. Do you know that every family can come to the Y? We have a sliding scale. People look on the website and they see that $59 price a month and they go, whoa, but it's not, our average fee is closer to about $42 a month. Because we have a sliding scale. We want everybody to be involved. At the Y, we don't have a marketing department, and we're very, very poor at getting this message out. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. That's a national problem. It's not just a local problem. I've been around the country, and every place we went, it's the first thing you tell people. What is the mission of the Y? And during my interview process, I got asked that question, and it was, and my response was, I don't know what the mission of the Y is. Okay, we're going to make our own story. And once we make our story, then we'll have our mission. And the person proceeded to give me the actual mission statement off the website. And I said back, that's a statement. You got to put action behind it. And what I want to tell you guys is, you know, we are doing so many things at the Y right now that at times the staff's pulling his hair out. It's crazy. I mean, we do safety around water for the Owensboro school. Every second grader in Owensboro this fall will get swim lessons for free. We did Cravens this year. We chose Cravens to go to first because they have the swimming pool right next to them. Out of, I think it was 91 kids, 86 of them could actually do the swim test when the lessons were over. The reason behind that is peer pressure is the greatest way to teach a kid to swim. When their little buddy can do it, they're going to go in and work hard to do it. Okay, so in basically 8 hours of lessons, kids learn to swim 25 meters. But that's really important to the Y because swimming is critical. Every child in our summer camp gets free swim lessons till they can swim 25 meters. We absorb that cost as part of the class because that's a life lesson that you want to teach someone. And so that's, when we say our story, that's just the beginning of what we're trying to do. We do a Parkinson's program. I don't know if any of y'all heard of the Rocksteady boxing program. We have 28 people in Rocksteady boxing, which is Parkinson's, by the way. Movement is the only cure. While there's no cure, movement is the only cure. It makes people better. So they come 2 days a week. We're expanding it, I think, next month. Well, I know in August, at least, we're going to go to 3 days a week. We have more volunteers to run that program than we have individuals that need volunteers to help because it's that impactful. True story, I can't go up there because it makes me emotional. I mean, we have people getting out of wheelchairs and walking and haven't walked in 2 years. Okay, after 8 weeks of Rocksteady boxing. And it's a national program. It's not truly a Y program. We just, with the help of the hospital, are able to fund it. And we have, like I said, we have 28. We're sending more people off to get instructor training so that we can actually expand the program. But that's, you know, so for the kids, we teach swim lessons. For the kids in summer camp, you know, we talk about summer camp. We have these kids 50 hours a week for the most part. And remember summer camp when you were a kid, if any of you went to summer camp? That's what we do. This rigid summer camp, when we sit in a room, we go here. It's more, we want the kids to have as many experiences as they can have. Because if you look at the child, when they go, at 12, children start making their own decisions. Up till then, moms or dads make the decisions for them. So our idea of summer camp is to give them so many experiences that at 12 they can make their own decision of what they really want to do. So we do guitar lessons. 2 weeks from now they're going to do scuba diving. We do basketball, we do soccer, we do reading, we do art. I mean, you should see their day. It's unbelievable. The kids go home exhausted. But we hired a staff. With the help of some other organizations, we're able to pay our staff for child care workers about 50% more than what you would pay in other child care centers to be able to provide these services. And again, I go back to a third of the kids don't pay a dime.
Can you explain why?
Well, there's two. They're at the CCAP, which is the state pays. Child Care Assistance Program, and they pay a percentage of it. And then there's a copay involved, and we've gone out and gotten grants to cover the copays. So the parents, if they come to the Y, there's no copay. Okay, if they can't get CCAP, then we go to the sliding scale. So CCAP is a hard cutoff at $38,100 and whatever dollar it is. But if someone's making $39,000 a year, so they got a pay raise at work for $900, and now they lose a benefit. Well, we absorb a good portion of that because we want people to succeed in life. Because that only makes the child better. And the child gets to see mom or dad experiencing growth. They're going to be better. So, we do all kinds of free nights in the community, parents' night out, kids' night out, just so parents have time. But the biggest thing the takeaway I'd like from this is this. The gym is an avenue to do the things the Y is called on to do. Every member of the Y has a background check run on them. Okay, so, when I got here, we did away with guest passes during the summer. You can't come visit the Y if you're not a member. And it's simply because I don't have a background check on you. And I have other people's children in our Y that we're responsible for. So, that's kind of where we're at. And the last part of what we're doing, and this is really, to me, a great program. We're going to start an opioid prevention program in July. We're going to be in the schools. It's going to be part of this, we call it SAW, but it's Safety Around Water program. The kids will come to the Y. 30 minutes will be safety around water, an hour will be in the pool. And then we just rotate the kids through all day long. We'll do it with our summer camps. It is an awareness program. It's basically we teach the kids, don't get into your parents' drugs. If you don't know this, 98% of all teens that take drugs usually take their parents' drugs first. Isn't that a crazy stat? And that's what we're going to do parent meetings with different groups around the city. We're working with the mentor program. They reached out at the center here for us to maybe do some things with them. But it's a statewide program. So the Owensboro Y is going to run this program for every YMCA in the state. So it's a great program, but it's also an awareness program. We're working with River Valley to get the data to make sure that it's data driven, not feel good driven. And that'll start in July. Well, probably August, but we'll start training people in July to run the program.
I'd just like to say that I've been on the board for almost 8 years now, a member of the Y for over 20 years. I went off to grad school, came back to the Y, and to see from where it was when I was just a member there, because I used to go to the Athenian all the time. I know we got a lot of community pushback because we shut the Athenian down, but it was part of refocusing what our purpose in the community is, and that's to focus on children and giving them the best tools that they have that we can give them, that we can provide, along with other community service partners that, there's a lot of stories that you hear about what's your Y story. And there's so many people that say, well, I spent hours and hours playing up in the gym. I used to play basketball with my friends. even our board of trustees, who are some very affluent people, have the most hilarious stories that they will tell you about playing basketball with their young friends. And it's so nice to see how much of an impact that the Y has had in the community for so long. The first branch was down on Fourth and Frederica, and that was in, I should know this year, what was that year?
1895.
1895, yeah, that's right, 1895. So that's how long we've been in the community, and changing, of course, along the way. And with the guidance of YUSA, who we look up to for all our policies, procedures, and grants, even for swim lessons. But evolving along the way and making sure we can provide those programs, and more recently, providing a stellar child care program that is so very much needed in the community. Of course, we just heard the news of the closure of one of a staple child care provider. And it's the future of child care is not bright. But when it comes to the Y, we're fervently working to fit that fill that need. And Tom's done such a great job along with the staff. I mean, if you ever stop in the Y, how many people are members of the Y here? I'm not here to call you out, but we need you. Come on, join. Like he said, if there's anybody that cannot afford, we do scholarship. How much scholarship do we budget every year?
About 140,000.
So the majority of our fundraisers, they're not to put the money towards, some of it's towards programming, but we write grants, we're writing grants now for programming, and the rest of it goes towards scholarship. So we don't turn anybody away, and everybody has that same opportunity, whether you make $20,000 a year or $80,000 a year, there's a need that we fill, and we want to make sure everybody has that opportunity. He talked about, swim and gym. We have a value-added membership is what we generally say. We have so many other perks that other organizations do not have, and they serve their purpose. If you want to go and watch muscles and throw weights around, hey man, it's their thing, go do it. It's, that's what you want to do. But you'll see kids running around our facility and in and out, and the staff know their names, and the staff knows the family's names. And we have a greeter who's in the Parkinson's program, he went nonverbal when he found out he had Parkinson's. I'm gonna try. You should maybe tell the story, because I have to have Christy tell it, because she's
I'll tell the story. So.
Okay, so you tell it.
So we have, his name's Ed, and he found out he had Parkinson's, and for 2 weeks he didn't speak to his wife, didn't speak to his kids, didn't speak to anybody. And we started this program, and his wife found out about it, and his wife brought him. And he walks in the gym, and there's 25 other people that have the same thing. And he realized that, because he thought life was over. And he realized then life wasn't over. And now he's our door greeter on Mondays and Wednesdays. For 2 hours he sits in a chair up front and greets everybody. And again, everybody that walks in knows his name. And we have, on any given day, between 700 and 1,000 people come in the Y. And our front desk staff can tell you every person's name. I mean, that's their job. I mean, they say hello, but they also know their needs, because everything we're focusing on it right now is childcare. Making sure childcare is right. If you didn't know, we're building a new childcare center behind the Y. It should be open by September. It'll add another 70 slots to childcare in town.
And we're missing over 2,000 slots, by the way. So it's a pretty big, it's a big deal in the fact that, we're taking that many off, but it's still a huge need in our community. And I will tout, you haven't said it, the only reason that we can provide quality child care at a lower cost is because we do receive the CCAP funds. Now what that means is that you have to be rated by the state or licensed by the state. And we are one of the select few of facilities that provide that service in the community. So we are 4 out of 5 star, and there's a technicality in the kind of benefits that you provide to your staff. So we'll be 5 star here shortly, and that's a huge thing, because we went from being a 1 star to being almost a 5 star here in a little bit, and we're able to provide those families that most need, and I hate to say this, but it is the working poor class that needs that child care so they can go to work. They can't, go out and find private. Even if you have money, you can't find private sitters anymore. You can't find child care. So those people that need it most, that are working from paycheck to paycheck, can send their kids to quality programming and have the same access to childcare that everybody else has. So I really applaud the staff and the work they've put in the past 5 years. And
And that's our goal, is every kid when they come to the Y, you don't know if they're a millionaire or not. And you know, when I first started here, one of the things someone said to me, and it stuck with me forever, is, you know, you have two people working out on a treadmill. You don't put a shirt on one of them that says they're on scholarship. But the same goes with soccer and basketball and after school and everything else. Every child is treated the same. And, you know, if they have a hard time at home, they get 8 to 10 hours of normalcy while they're with us. And that's our goal. And they get to experience things that every other child in town gets to experience. So, well, currently it's going to be Monday through Friday. The goal is by the end of 26 that it'll run 2 shifts. So the second shift workers will have childcare for.
And we'll be able to move the population, the older population will be in the other building next door, and then we'll have 7 slots for babies.
7 babies, total of 54 in the building. 7 babies I know because I bought the cribs, but the rest of it I'm not exactly sure how many is in each room. And there's a debate that we're having at the Y because we have another room we can add. We're just going to have to decide what we're going to do with it. But I will tell you, the baby slots, we haven't even opened registration, and I have more than 20 people looking. There's a 2-year wait to put if you have a baby, to put them in childcare. I mean, so you have to plan 2 years before to get yourself on a waiting list to have a child, or you have to stop working.
Well, and that's another government issue too, because if you have some mother that's on, any type of support, and, I know this from my own daughter's perspective, she's got twins and trying to get the twins into daycare, they're telling her she has to go find a job, but she'll lose some of those services, and she can't get them in to go find a job.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a, you know, it's a double-edged sword.
Well, CCAP has a requirement, they have to work 20 hours a week. But I'll give you a way around it. Okay, if she goes back to school
Yeah,
to become, or if she works in childcare, her childcare's free. That's a new thing we work for that actually got passed a year ago. But if you have a mom who works in childcare, their childcare's free. They have to work 20 hours a week in childcare. Or if they're in school to do childcare, their childcare's free. And their schooling's free. And we'll do the paperwork to help them get all that done.
Program.
It's a state program, so it's a 3-year program. They do 2 years at OCTC and 1 at Western if they're here. It's a 4-year program if you go to the UK or Western Kentucky, Eastern, those. So, but you have to work 20 hours a week in childcare. Okay.
For summer camp, what's the earliest someone should apply to get into that summer camp program? Because I feel like I went on there,
November.
shut the front door, really.
We were full January 15th. And we have 70 kids on the wait list. And we are working with other sites right now, so hopefully next year we'll be able to absorb more kids. 46 senior classes a week. They're every day of the week, I think except Thursday, but I think it's every other day. We do aquatics, so we have swim classes for seniors. We call them silver sneaker classes. That's just a term we use. If you see it on, that's just seniors. So we do everything from chair yoga, bump and move. So it's basically getting the seniors active. We have an 8 o'clock class most days and a 10 o'clock class. The only days we don't, like I said, are Thursdays, and that's because we have a 75 yoga class that comes in person and it takes over their space.
And it's also because Medicare can pay for their.
Yeah. And
I
then,
was getting ready to ask, is it silver sneakers, is it like, they get charged, they
Yeah.
only get charged like $3 for their
They don't
insurance?
pay anything.
They don't
They
pay,
don't
but
pay.
through their insurance,
Yeah.
they pay you all, right, like a
Right,
very
so-
minimal amount, okay.
right, a very minimal amount.
Yeah.
But so we call it silver sneakers, but there's also, if they're on Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield has one. We take all those. So it depends on, the term we use is silver sneakers, that's our biggest one.
Yeah.
But there are also Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, United Healthcare, Renew. All the major insurance for the seniors has this category. They just need to call and make sure, and if
I saw recently, which I think is phenomenal, you all started
So it'll start the week, give us 1 week after school starts to get it started. And what it is the KWC education majors, that need work study hours. We met with them and realized that they didn't have enough places for kids to go, for their students to get work study hours. So we provide basically 2 rooms in my office, and we had 256 kids last year, and so they get tutored by education majors up to junior high. One of the things with the high school kids, we did take some. You just have to set it up so that we have the right person to teach you, because it's one thing to teach a 10-year-old, it's another thing to teach physics to a high school kid. So our advertising is always going to say through middle school. However, like I said, last year we had, I think, a history thing that you set me up with a tutor, and then we had physics where a kid needed it, and we were able to.
Is that for members only?
No, it's open to the public free. We're open to all. We're inclusive of all. We have a chairlift for the pool. We cannot provide one-on-one service because that's a whole different licensure thing that we are not licensed in. But outside of that, we can do anything. We purchased last year 2 pieces of equipment for special need for people in wheelchairs so they can work out. This year the goal is to purchase 1 more. So eventually we'll have more equipment in there that they can use. Currently we really only have 3 pieces of equipment that they can work out on. But we will have, hopefully this year, again, a 3rd one. The key to everything is it's y'all's. Okay, and you gotta remember that. And we operate it, but it's yours. And so if you have something you need or your organization needs, let us know. Yeah.
What is your hiring age? And I ask that because we get questions a lot, and there's a lot of teams that are looking for jobs.
So, loaded question. It's 15 to do week care. It's 16, and lifeguard. They have to pass the test. It's 16 to do some other things, but it's really 18 for the most of the hiring. We do have some week care staff that's 15. Most of those come recommended from the high schools, so a counselor calls us and said this kid needs this, and we take them on.